Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Here we are.
Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da. Hi, Arena. Richard. Mom. ActiveVote app. Nice. Hi, Shelby.
Thanks for being here, voting partners. We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Partners in the voting quest.
Cap. Oh my god, the NerdsVote sign in Fallout 76. So cute. Everyone needs to put NerdsVote in all the, build your own universe games. Mm-hmm. I ate some mushroom pizza, guys, so if it gets nasty, just, put it in the chat.
Oh, of course I forgot. Hold on.
Powering on. Welcome to Alltech Lansing.
That was not sponsored.
Are you on hold?
Who's with us?
There we go. No, I was just upping your volume just to make sure that people can hear
Thanks.
you. You know,
Thanks.
you're so welcome. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Between Two Nerds, your source for voter registration information, as well as chats with your favorite notable nerds. I'm JP Karliak.
I'm Courtenay Taylor.
And we have an amazing guest today, Khary Payton!
Woo! You know him as Cyborg across a million different platforms, but like Teen Titans, hello, Aqualad and Young Justice. Yes, we're doing the voiceover stuff first. And a teensy little role on a little teeny show called The Walking Dead. You might have heard or seen somebody named King Ezekiel.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tiny little independent show. It's like
Kind
Criterion
of a walk-on
Collection.
thing.
Yes, so without further ado, let us join with waiting for the thing to connect and happen. Waiting for the thing to connect and happen. And here he is!
Hey, what's up, everybody?
How we doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm unveiling my stubble.
I was
It's
I was
Corona
actually
time, and so yeah, it's gonna be probably a while before I am able to work, or not work. So I thought I would scare people into thinking that I'm probably dead because I
It
shaved
gives
my
you that
beard.
like this thing that you can do when people talk to you.
Oh
yeah,
my, oh dude,
yeah,
mine is
yeah.
like a sponge too. I mean, when I'm sweating to the oldies, let me tell you something.
Just
It
bring it
gets
out.
rough. Oh man, you don't want to get too close.
I actually have to say, because I haven't seen you in person in some time, I was like, I wonder what the hair and beard situation is going to be when we
Yeah,
see him.
I kind of relocated. I
Yeah,
put the
I like
bushy
it. I
stuff back
like
on
it.
top. Yeah.
It is
Why,
So
great.
it
thank you,
must be the
sir.
relief to not be wearing like 5 pounds of dreads right now because it's so freaking hot.
You know
Yeah.
what? The wig is actually the least of my problems. The wig is costs about as much as my car, and so that thing is like it's got air conditioning, it's got it's got Sirius XM radio. That is a serious wig, so it's actually pretty comfortable for the first 13 hours. It starts to get itchy around about 13 and a half hours, but mostly I've gotten them to stop putting just loads of clothing on me. They used to give me like neoprene, fake leather, stuff to throw on me, like I was the cowardly lion in the Wiz or something, just way too much, crushed velvet. And so I finally got them to stop putting that on me. So
Yeah,
I'm
because
I'm
like
feeling
it's not.
better.
Makes you miss the little voiceover, doesn't it? Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? What I love about my job these days is the wondrous variety. And
Yeah.
actually, and you know what? Here's the thing about voiceover. People used to, they always say, "Oh, isn't it great you get to, go to work and and you can wear whatever you want." And that's not true. I always got dressed to go to work. What am I? Some kind of savage? But you know what? Since I've been working in my walk-in closet, man, I'm barely wearing underwear in there. It gets hot in that bad boy. I am down to nothing. I'm down to
Yeah.
nothing some days.
Maybe you need to wear your dreadlock wig like around your nether region so that you get that air conditioning.
Like a
You know,
loincloth of a sort.
Yeah, like an air-rated loincloth.
Courtney,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you,
They
I
probably don't like to
honestly
take
never
them home,
thought of that.
right?
Because sure.
I
Because
never thought of
it's that expensive that feels like defacing important property.
Man, I hope this doesn't become a thing.
Yeah.
That's very weird for me. It's a
Hmm.
crazy weird octopus action happening around my pelvic area. Courtney,
It
thank you for that image. Good Lord,
it
thank
definitely
you
feels
for.
like a He-Man character of the kind, for sure.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
many
I love
dreadlocks.
that you said, like, now your career is, like, you get to do both. Because I was actually looking you up because,
We like
I'd
to be
never thought to
researched
look you
before
up. You're
someone
just,
comes on.
somebody I see in the lobby at places.
Exactly.
And, it's nice to see you. But I was like, let me go down the rabbit hole here. And you have been doing both things for so long. Like, you've actually had this beautiful, like, voice acting and face acting for, like, 20 years.
Yeah, no,
You're a unicorn.
it's I feel so lucky that I get to play in both worlds. It is so amazing to be able to have that kind of stretch as far as your creativity is concerned. It's the it's never real. They always say, well, do you do this acting or real acting or not? And I'm like, well, none of it's real. None of it's real. But get those bills. Don't show us the bills. We just saw all the bills. We're gonna pay those bills after Corona.
They will.
Tell
I just flipped the thing by
exactly.
accident.
Tell Los Angeles, power and or
Oh,
whatever.
Khary, they're not bills. They're my EDD slips that I need to send in to be
Oh
like,
Lord,
yeah.
exactly.
I'll
Yeah,
get to the
well,
unemployment later.
send those bad boys in. Exactly. But yeah, I love that I get to play in both worlds and that and people always say, so do you ever do like real acting? And I'm like, there's no such thing as real acting. It's all make believe, people. It's all make believe. And if there's somebody with a camera in your face like this, you got to pretend like that fool's not there. It's and when you've got a microphone and a stand in front of you, you have to build this thing in your brain. There's
The
so
whole thing.
many ways you got to stretch and pull your imagination. And to me, it's like going into one of those gymnasiums where they have all the gymnastic trampolines and they've got the pit where you can jump into the foam and everything. The fact that I get to do voiceover and do live action means that my gymnasium just happens to be really versatile, and I just love it so much.
Awesome.
And now
Awesome.
it's even with the, now doing motion capture where you got to literally build the world, in the void. It's an awesome time to be doing what we're doing.
It's like being back in college doing like all that weird black box theater stuff. Just,
Dude, that black box shit, you thought you were just taking some weird movement class. No, man.
Yep,
No, we're doing
yep,
that shit for real.
yep.
They're
Now
like
you wish you
stack.
could go back and be like, I should have worked on being the tomato more because,
yeah,
yeah,
because
you
you're
get
gonna
that,
be a real
you get that
tomato.
avocado audition, and you're like, man, this is when, like, I never thought during theater school, I was like, movement classes and like voicing inanimate object classes. Now I'm like, and then it was like voice and speech classes. And I'm like,
Right.
now if I could time travel back and just pay attention and give it the respect it was due.
If we could time travel back and just slap our college selves, yeah, that would be.
Yes, multiple times.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like it kind of just by osmosis. It's soaked in there. It's soaked in there. We, just being even if you weren't listening to everything at the time, because I got ADHD and I don't listen to everything. I listen to everything all the time and am never conscious of anything.
Sure.
but it got in there, and that tomato, you know, that tomato grew inside me, man. And now
It did, and I want to
and
tell you that I did end up booking the voice of an avocado. So yes,
of
I
course you did.
believe you, and thank you for that.
Yes. Now,
It's in there.
sadly,
See?
it wasn't a mocap job, but
God,
That's
that
all
would
right.
be a great mocap avocado, just boom. I don't know. Okay.
Absolutely. I was gonna say a lot of things. Yeah, yeah.
So, Khary, in addition to playing around with where the hair is located on your head,
Yeah.
how have you been staying inspired, motivated, sane during these weird times?
Oh man, I've been really lucky that I started that I've been writing on my own for a while, and I actually got my first like paid writing job
Ooh.
actually a few months before this lockdown hit, and my script was due about 3 weeks into the coronavirus lockdown. So I actually had, a lot to do to keep myself occupied because although I'd written scripts before, I'd never been paid for it, and so there's that whole anxiety and deadline, this and that, and I was staying up till all hours of the night, going over it and re-going over it and doubting yourself, and then realizing that you're weirdly very qualified to do this, and so I had a really great experience with that, and then of course I had the depression that follows turning in the final draft, and it's like, what the hell do I do with myself, and so I cowered in a ball for a while, whatever. That's how I cope with shit.
That's
But
just a Tuesday in this house.
Yeah.
exactly.
You are not
So
alone.
Just a Tuesday.
so I was able to do
It's literally
yeah.
like the 5 stages of grief, are like the 5 days of the week. Like acceptance comes around Friday, you're like, okay, and then Monday starts, and you're like, ah.
Mhm.
We're all in that cycle these days. It's a running gag. It's a running gag. So yeah. But I did that, and then the voiceover stuff started to trickle back in. Some of my regular gigs were like, how is that walk-in closet? And so I literally,
Yeah,
I
they were
have
probably
gathered.
like, thank God you're back from Atlanta. Give us
Yeah,
some of
yeah,
your, talent. Because you've
dude, I've
been in
got.
Atlanta a lot, right?
I spent half the year in Atlanta, and going back and forth, uh,
So they were like,
because
yeah, we got him. He's at home. Send the rig or lock him in the closet, and let's get that voice. Let's do this.
that's really not far off. That's not far off. Get the
Mm-hmm.
rig, throw him in the closet, lock him in the closet. That's what happened. And so I've been doing that as well, which is really nice to be able to be able to work and create on that level, and distract myself, a little bit from the craziness going on. I tried to, for most of the lockdown the last couple of months, I've locked myself up pretty tightly. I have a loved one who is I guess high risk for coronavirus, as far as lungs are concerned, and so I didn't go out. That was a reason that I wasn't at the protest this time. I was for that reason, but I did go out once or every other morning, and I ran, and I fucking hate to run. I hate to run, but it was like I gotta do something, just to keep it together. And so I run a couple of miles every other day, to keep myself sane, and then just trying to support everybody out there who's marching and singing for change.
Yeah. I mean, there's first of all, I feel you about the running. Horrible. But
Dude,
I
I'm
also,
I always halfway through, I'm like, where am I going? What am I doing this for? You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm like one of those horses, like when you were a kid and, like you rented, I grew up in San Francisco, you like rented horses and they just were like the whole way up the hill, just slow, slow. And then you get to the top of the hill and turn around and they knew they were going back to the barn. And it's like, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm the wind under my wings.
Yes, yes. I ride a lot of horses on The Walking Dead, and Lord knows I gotta remind myself to stay in charge when I'm pointed in the direction of the barn because if I'm not, boy, there are a couple of those horses that would take off, and I love to take off, but I have a
yeah,
job to do.
yeah.
We definitely have to look for the outtakes of
Yes,
any filming of
absolutely.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it's just Khary riding past the camera like, yeah.
Just
You have no idea.
holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
The reins are
I
out of his hands. Just, yeah.
They had horses there for us to ride, to practice all the time. And honestly, I didn't ride horses very much on the show, but man, they might as well have just made me pay rent at that ranch because I love me some horses. I was all over it. I was all over it.
I bet.
Yeah. And yeah, for me, exercise has been no pun intended, but if I don't feel like I'm being chased by zombies, I don't care,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that's the only reason that I think that I would enjoy like the running of the bulls in Spain to be like, oh, okay, there's danger. That will,
Yeah, there's a huge motivator
This has got
there.
me motivated.
yeah.
Yeah. No, now as the lockdown has loosened, I'm an avid hiker. I love to hike. I love being in Southern California where I can go 20 minutes in every direction and find a mountain to climb. And so and to me there's a difference because I know that there's a view and a vista that I can look over when I get to the top. And so that's my meditation. That's my kind of self-care. Take care of yourself, take care of your mind. And so in the last few weeks, I found some off the beaten path trails to so that I can still be socially distant, and do my part in that way, but get out. And I mean, we're so lucky to be living in this part of the country where we have that. There are so many reasons to come to Southern California, but just that natural climb, man. I
Yeah.
highly recommend it. I highly
Yeah.
recommend it.
I mean, we do have the benefit of being able to spread out, which is,
You are originally from Georgia, right? Were you
Yep.
just born there, or did you move here
No,
from
no,
Georgia?
no. I
Like,
I was pretty much born and raised there. My dad was in the Army for a few years, and so we lived for about a year in Hawaii and a year in Alabama. But my formative years through 18 were all spent in Georgia. So it's an interesting homecoming to go back to shooting The Walking Dead. I haven't lived there since I was 18. So
yeah.
yeah.
So
So
did
it's
the first time that you voted, were you in Georgia?
no. The first time I voted, actually, I was in Dallas, Texas. I went to Southern Methodist University,
Oh,
SMU, in Dallas, Texas, and so that was actually the first municipality that I actually cast my vote. And I remember my mom, who had a crush on Jesse Jackson when I was in high school. And earlier
fair.
she
It's a
went to see
mustache.
it. Yeah. You know how to work it. And so we went to see a speech of his when I was um, maybe a freshman in high school, or maybe in the eighth grade or something. But I remember him at this speech saying, "If you aren't registered to vote and you're a student," because I grew up in Athens, Georgia. For the most part, it's a big University of Georgia is a huge school with a large student population. And he was like, come down and register to vote. It doesn't matter where if you're from out of state or whatever, you live here now. Exercise your right to vote. And so I remembered that, uh, and so I voted in '92, I believe.
Hmm.
Yes, voted in '92.
That's cool. So now, one of the questions that we love to ask people is, who are you voting for? But when we ask that, we don't mean candidates or party in particular.
Right.
We just mean, like, when you're going to the polls this election or voting from home, whatever your regimen is going to be,
Sure.
who will be on your mind? What for that ballot, for that vote to benefit?
Well, I am a left-leaning person as far as my issues and affiliations are concerned. So I am concerned with the environment, climate change, also how we can talk about the environment and the economy and have them work together rather than feel like they're issues that have to be on one side or the other.
Sure.
I think we're rethinking the way that we discuss a lot of issues, as far as what's right and what's wrong, and seeing our world very differently. And I think having that conversation is important. That our economic well-being is tied to our environmental well-being. I obviously with the protests and the awareness that we're having in I guess issues with public safety, policing, law enforcement. I'm very interested in how we dole out tax dollars to keep the public trust, to work toward a different paradigm when we talk about public safety.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about keeping the public safe, and not assuming too much. I feel like a lot of the world has assumed we assume we know who the good guys are and the bad guys are all the time, and we make it black and white, and no pun intended, but also and I think that we have to remember that it's not black and white. It's not so simple as that.
Right.
We have a tendency to want to point the finger and fight with one another, and it takes strength and fortitude, and it takes going past the anger of a conversation to realize that someone on the other side is going to have to see it my way too. There's got to be some common ground that we can come to, because the truth is that we all want to be safe.
Yeah.
But we have very different ideas of what that means, and some of us want to bury our heads in the sand, or we all do it sometimes, want to bury our heads in the sand and just believe what we were taught.
Yep.
That's believe that we were taught.
And because the hardest, when it's like stay the same or change takes all the energy, and staying the same kind of is just not even treading water, and
it hurts.
Now we're getting these different ways of being positive, and I think it's scary to think about things being different, but it's also really inspiring to find possibility in some of those sort of suggestions and directions that we could go in, because for so much of this, I think it feels a lot like things have just gotten put into certain baskets for so long that, like, it's just easier to keep them in the baskets. And even, talking about like defunding the police, it seems like the police are sort of this catch-all of, the other day I looked out my window and there was a cement truck that was hanging off a hill. it had driven like on a driveway that wasn't strong enough to hold it, and it was about to tip down the hill and go down, and there was a house down there. And of course I was like, oh my God, I gotta call the police. And I called the police, and they were kind of like, well, what do you want us to do? You want us to call a tow truck or whatever? And it just made me think. I mean, I was annoyed because I was like, well, I don't know what to do. You tell me. But then later on, after I sat there and thought about it, it's like they get calls for mental health stuff. They get calls for, things like cement trucks falling off of the hill. And wouldn't it be great if we could take some of that? And they, they're on movie sets and in schools and everything. It's like, couldn't we actually tease some of this out so that there could be more efficacy in all of these different areas, and maybe people that were more attuned and trained to kind of deal with some of this stuff? And I should have called the police, the fire department, but I only learned that afterwards. But you know what I mean? I think it's something. Even so, it's good for everyone, including all sides. It's
good. It's good for them too. Here's something that we need to understand, that that George Floyd died because of a lack of police accountability. The man who murdered George Floyd had 18 complaints against him, and he was leading a group of police officers. Now, if there had been some sort of accountability, to say, you know what, maybe at the 10th complaint, we need to talk about the way that you're dealing with people. Maybe at the 15th complaint, we need to maybe not have you be the lead officer going out and leading people into difficult situations. Maybe the 17th, maybe the 18th, but because there was no accountability, George Floyd is dead, and that man is going to jail and probably going to prison at this point. Mm-hmm. So his life is ruined. The officer's life is ruined. George Floyd's life is gone. The officer's life is ruined. Nobody wins here because of the lack of accountability. What we have to understand is accountability is good for everyone.
Yeah.
But this is very hard. This is a very hard thing to do. It's very hard to tell people that they're the good guys, no matter what. You're the good guys. You can do whatever you want to do. You're the good guys, no matter what you do. And when they get pushed back, you feel those cops getting upset about it. That is what's known as human nature. But we have to change the way we deal with them to help them do their job. Because at the end of the day, we pay them.
Right.
We employ them. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's protect and serve. So when they get out of the car, let me tell you something about the last 4 times I've been pulled over in my life. Okay. Mm-hmm. 3 of those times was a few years ago. I drove a decent car, but not the nicest car in the world. But I got pulled over 3 times in my neighborhood, and I live on the white side of town, I guess you would say, in Los Angeles. It got to the point that I started to ask friends, guys, when you guys get pulled over, do they ask you if you have any outstanding warrants, and I should tell them up front if I have any outstanding warrants to make this easier? Do they ask you that when you get pulled over? First of all, they were like, dude, I don't get pulled over, right? And second of all, they'd be like, I have never heard of them doing that. I am an affable guy. I know how to calm a situation. I've always been that way. And in each of those situations, I calm that situation, but the situation didn't begin that way.
Right. Because
it wasn't about how I approached them. When they approached me, I was a threat until I was able to be disarming. The last time I got pulled over, I drive a nicer car these days than I used to. I got pulled over. I got pulled over because I didn't have my sticker on my registration. That was my bad. Okay. So I had to pay a ticket and to get off of there. I'm going between Georgia and LA. These things happen sometimes. So I got pulled over, and I sat there. I rolled my window down. The two cops got out of the car and told me to turn my car off and roll all my windows down. And as they approached me, they one of them said, "Whose car is this? Do you know the owner?" I was like, "Well, it's my car." I get my stuff to show them and everything. They go back to their squad car. They come back and they come back as nice as they could be, almost apologetic. And here's the thing. No. I mean, literally, they were, yeah. Maybe they didn't say sorry, but they felt bad.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. I don't think those cops, were meaning to feel the way that they were feeling. They have an inherent feeling for that there is a threat in their job, and so they start at a level, and they start at a level when they see me. Now, when they came back, they were apologetic because that's not what they meant.
Right.
But it doesn't change the fact that that's what happened,
Yeah.
And if I'm a little less disarming, if I'm a little more upset at the way I'm being treated, that doesn't mean you get to pull me out of the car and talk to me as if I'm a criminal.
Right.
And some people, everybody's not going to be as nice as I am in those situations. That doesn't mean that in that situation they get pulled out of the car and they say, you know what, I want to talk to your commanding officer or whatever, and they say, don't get belligerent with me. And it was like, I have a right to be belligerent. I shouldn't be sitting here. I've done nothing wrong. All I need is a ticket, and you should be letting me on my way. And then they're like, you know what? We're going to detain you because you're acting erratic. And then all of a sudden you got your hands behind your back, and a record for disorderly conduct or something. Yeah. And a black man with a record, any man with a record, has a harder road to walk.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we see white guys who are in Minneapolis or not Minneapolis, Michigan, who are at the state capitol, armed to the teeth, screaming in the face of police officers about, and all of the coronavirus protections and everything. And they just stand there. And there is no disorderly conduct.
Exactly. And you know what? This is a hard thing for someone to look at and see themselves. But that's what 400 years of this has wrought. And people want to say, you know what, you have no idea what was happening 400 years ago, but literally this is the legacy of my people and my ancestors and the way we were brought up. I'll tell you a story that didn't hit me until much later in life, because I was only 8 years old. And my dad had just gotten out of the Army. He went to a Catholic high school. He went to Mercer University in Georgia. He went to the Medical College of Georgia, where he became a doctor, and then spent a stint in the Army. He looks real good on paper. My dad looked amazing on paper. He interviewed as he was getting out of the Army and decided to take a job in South Georgia. I believe it was Albany, to take over this pediatric clinic that had been there for years. The senior pediatric doctor there was going to retire in a few years, and my dad was going to take over this big pediatric clinic. My brother, myself, my mom, and my dad, we drove from Alabama to Albany to meet with this guy. They saw us, they had a meeting, the guy said, you know what? I think you're great. I'm just going to have to discuss this with my board of, of whatever.
Sure.
And that was the last we heard of him. That was the last we heard of him. Because on paper, a black man doesn't go to a Catholic high school and Mercer University and the Medical College of Georgia. They assumed a lot with my dad until we walked through the door. And I tell you that story to let you understand that when we talk about the privilege that people receive, somebody else got that job. Another family that doesn't look like us got that job, and they started at a higher place than my dad did. My dad still did very well for himself.
Mm-hmm.
My dad built his pediatric practice, and his and trust me, walking through Athens, Georgia, everybody stops to say hello to Dr. Payton. He did very well for himself. He took care of half of the people in that town. But the point is that we lack the privilege, and so because of that, the road was a little bit harder than maybe his resume warranted.
Sure.
And this is just a small example. And when people say, you know what, that doesn't happen to everybody. If it happens to my family, it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what I just want you to understand, to get that idea,
Yeah.
There's a really amazing experiment that's online that you can look up on YouTube. Jane Elliott did a Blue Eyes, Brown Eyes anti-racism experiment. And it's about an hour long, and it's college students, and they separate them by blue eyes and brown eyes. And all of the brown-eyed kids are given privilege, and all of the blue-eyed kids are not. And they know that they're going to be in this experiment, and it's only for, a couple of hours, and they're getting school credit for it. The amount of, honestly, the amount of stress that I felt watching it, and sort of like, oh, this is it's like a direct line to seeing one woman walks out, she's in tears, like people are crying, and it's literally, Jane Elliott is just like, oh, you can't handle this for an hour or two? Like, this is what happens every day. And whatever your feelings are on it, just to our viewers, it's definitely worth a watch. It's Jane Elliott's Blue Eyes, Brown Eyes experiment.
Yeah.
And it will hopefully open some eyes, no pun intended, on what, people face every single day.
Exactly.
That can be completely, there's one point that's just everything that you say is wrong. And it totally was like, oh, that's what it's like when you're dealing with with the police in certain instances.
Yeah.
You can't not look at them, but you can't look at them, and it's very eye-opening.
And it's human nature. It's something that we all deal with. But when you're in a position of power, you have to know that about yourself. And unfortunately, the state of public safety and law enforcement, it fights wanting to look inward to see what can change, to how we can change to make it better. It's very much, the way that police unions work, when they are protecting, the bad apple, it makes it very hard for even the good cops are like, well, at least I'm not doing that, trying to keep my head down and do it the right way, they're making the bad cops badder.
And I think it's important to, someone in the comments here was talking about, I think people get hung up on the word defunding. And so if that, I like decommodifying law enforcement, I think is
I think that
it's interesting just to look at possibilities. I'm not saying to anyone like you have to think a certain way, but
sure.
When these are the possibilities that are laid out in front of you, don't get caught up in the particular verbiage. Maybe look a little bit more, because I have law enforcement in my family, and I don't want them to have a 60-hour work week where they're doing the toughest stuff that they're not getting to do community outreach, that they're not getting to meet the people, the good people that are on the street, that it's all just trying to put away criminals or trying to make money for the city that they work for. They deserve to have a restructuring of the way that they do their jobs so that they are, that they are able to have, for better, like a mental health day where like you get to go and sit in a kindergarten and talk about what you do and things like that, so that there's some balance for them.
It's a matter of priorities. It's a matter of priorities.
It feels like they're in a war zone all the time, and I don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
Or worse yet, we've given over 50% of tax dollars in at least in Los Angeles County to police and law enforcement. And how are those? And what does that mean when you have a bored cop? When there's so many cops around that there's not anything to do, but he's got a quota of how many arrests, because you get accolades for getting more arrests, more tickets. So you start maybe going looking for them where maybe they aren't.
Yeah.
You know.
And
and
was on the Houston PD. I don't think he ever shot his gun in 20 years, and that's what we hope for.
That's what we hope for.
Is that
exactly.
They don't have to be under this kind of stress. Somebody in the comments said that their one of their relatives, I think their dad, got death threats all the time being in law enforcement. Yeah, my dad was a lifer for police department in Texas. We had death threats often. Like, let's try and move away from that for the people who do law enforcement and who are good people.
Yeah,
exactly. Because at the end of the day, all of this is about because at this point, if I call 911, I absolutely pause. I don't think that's like is this going to make my situation better or worse?
Yep.
I will call for fire. I will call for paramedics, for ambulance. But if we're going to call for 911 for a cop to come here, do I really need them to be here? What are they going to see me as when they first pull up? Are they going to see me as the guy who called them because I need help, or are they going to call me as the one who is the problem? Yep. I absolutely have to have that conversation with myself. And so we want.
This also affects people that are in law enforcement that aren't necessarily police officers. Again, 911 is one of those things where I know better now, but and I didn't call 911 for the cement mixer. I called 311, but that's a pretty new thing where they've been putting forward like city access phone number that you can, so it gets routed to the right place. So many people call the cops, and we've seen so many people call the cops. It's a catch-all, and so those
they are definitely doing too much.
Responders, fire, paramedics, all those people end up getting kind of inundated because there hasn't also been enough education about where you need to go for certain things.
Yes.
So there's benefit to to looking at how we can treat all of our public servants in law enforcement better and getting better performance from them and getting.
And isn't that where America thrives?
Because we're all in
innovating the way that we do things. That we're like, yeah, we've been doing it this way, but if we move it this way and move it this way, and then boom, that's where magic happens. When we innovate, when we think about, what we've been doing it this way, but what if we tried it differently here? And this is just one of those places when you are supposed to intrinsically trust something, it's very difficult to not have some kind of abuse when you're without some sort of oversight. I mean, when I was growing up, if you were in trouble and you went past a church, they were like, go run tell the priest. I mean, you can always trust a priest, right? Isn't that what we always told? You can always trust a priest. Never worry about that. And then all those kids grew up, And what we're having here is the same situation, except we're already grown men. You just didn't believe us. So the cameras came on.
Yeah.
And so now we're having the conversation. And this is to say, and this is all gonna make us all safer.
Yeah.
This will make cops safer.
Yeah.
Because we will begin to trust them again.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's a lot of possibility in innovation. And that's what we're looking for is
This is what America was based on.
possibilities
Exactly.
don't lie in doing it the same way that we've done it for so long.
Amen. This is what I'm talking about. You know, this is you know, people focus on the protests, and there was a riot at this protest. You know, a volcano explodes, and that's exciting. And you see stuff flying everywhere, and it's crazy. And you're like, oh my God, this destruction. But that slow moving, hot, burning lava is what makes the land that thousands of years later grows jungles and animals and fauna of all types. You know, we focus on the explosion. We focus on the eruption. Mm-hmm. The hard work is that slow moving thing called democracy that will eventually get there. My folks have waited 400 years. It is slow moving. These things happen and explode sometimes, but the real work is the slow moving. The real work is NerdsVote.
Well, I thank you.
I mean, this is an amazing thing for you guys to focus on, because this is that slow moving thing, and it's not sexy. You know, when lava cools, it's just you know, ugly black rock that nothing can grow on. But everything grows on that. Everything we know and love grows on that.
Yeah.
And then it turns into some of the most verdant soil ever.
Beautiful.
And
stuff.
we are verdant soil here at NerdsVote. You are verdant soil.
There is the
you are verdant soil. This soil, this soil is so verdant. Oh my God, this soil is so verdant.
Well,
oh my God.
We have a lot of people, I think, who maybe haven't joined us before. So, and I did see in the comments that some people were asking, what is NerdsVote? They are just here for you, Khary. So just to take a second, we are a voter registration and education group that especially focuses on people in the nerd space, in the nerdiverse, because traditionally nerds haven't had their voices heard as much as maybe other groups of people. And we love nerds and believe that everyone here who plays video games and, you know, does tabletop gaming and believes in
cosplays,
good and evil and heroes and anti-heroes and problem solving are amazing people who need to be voting. So if you fall under cosplayer, video gamer, nerd for anything, nerd for The Walking Dead, then
everybody's a nerd for something.
And we have a couple of things where we do outreach, mostly at Comic-Cons until COVID hit, and now we are doing this, which is Behind Two Nerds, and we're getting your favorite people on to talk a variety of things.
Tell them about it, Courtenay. Tell them about
it. Or on the socials at NerdsVote. That's plural.
Yeah. And we have a brand new initiative. If you look down in the comment that we have pinned down there, we are now partnering with this organization called Motivote, which is basically you sign up. They have a list of action items that will come up from now until all the way through November. And they
give you points.
Yeah, they give you points.
So you can join our team, NerdsVote. It's at nerdsvote.motivote.us.
Yeah.
And we can all be on the same team, and you just do these these really simple actions. You get points, and you get stuff.
You get stuff.
And I love stuff.
And for anybody that's like, wait a minute, I thought it was illegal to incentivize voter registration. It's registration and voting, yes. You don't get prizes for actually voting or actually registering, but all of the steps surrounding it, like telling your friends, getting people to join, talking about voter, spreading information, we're big believers in that. Before you vote, you should do some research. So if you get together with your friends and you do some research together, you get some points, and you could win, you could win coffee, you could win a water bottle, you can win all sorts of cool stuff.
There's T-shirts.
Why, we
Stuff.
could
We're
do
probably
that
gonna be working
remotely.
with them a little bit more on surprise
Yeah.
stuff. But it's super cool, and it gives you a little like way of being accountable to your friends. Maybe you do like a, hey, we're going to the polls together with your neighbors, or you can meet up afterwards for like coffee or an adult beverage if you're over 21. Like to make it kind of cool and sexy and like make voting fun and
To make
not
it that
just, like,
verdant
duty.
soil.
Yes, I said duty.
Make that verdant soil. Yeah. You know what? You're going to have to put that on the back of the T-shirt now.
That'll
Nerds
happen.
vote.
That'll happen.
Duty.
We'll get on
Verdant
that.
soil. Well, I don't know. It makes me dance
Oh.
when I say it. I just
I was
started
like,
dancing to
duty?
no
I don't know
music.
if
I was like, what is
duty on
that?
it.
What is that, man? I love that. Come on.
It's all about the cryptic hashtag. Hashtag verdant soil. People are like, what is that?
Who?
I want that. Yeah. Oh boy.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, what an amazing thing you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I was so excited when Courtney messaged me about it. It's funny, she messaged me on Twitter and I looked at it and then in my head, you know, because my head's all crazy, I was like, oh, let me go look at that, and I pulled up Instagram and it was gone, and I was like, hey Courtney, why did you message me and then erase it? What's your deal? And she was like, I messaged you on Twitter, you moron. And she didn't say moron. That was me. That was me saying it to myself. But that's literally what happened.
There's a lot of social media confusion.
Well,
Khary.
it's funny
It's
because
just
I
like,
pretty much stalked you, so that's kind of hilarious because I feel like I hit you on Twitter. I had like an email from like 10 years ago or something. I was like dusting it off. I'm like, I want to find him.
she sent it to your MySpace account.
And then you were
You
like,
found me. Oh my
like,
goodness.
hit me on a different platform, and I was so confused. I was like, where did it? But this is what happens. I have a metal plate in my head, and it, you know, deletes everything.
Well, it's working. Your metal plate is working.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's how I get my signals from up there.
Boom.
Mhm.
There
She
you go.
She
Boom,
hears
boom.
K-Rock like clear as a bell.
Clear as hell, even though it's, yeah,
You know it's
not
K-Rock.
like still on, but, you know, I hear Kevin and Bean still. Hi.
Oh,
Oh.
R.I.P.
Oh.
Kevin and Bean.
Sorry, too soon.
Too soon. Khary, okay, so to the fans out there, the way we always close our show is we ask our guests to sign off the show as a fan favorite character. I have a small guess who they're going to pick, but who knows? Maybe they'll surprise me. Maybe they'll do a deep cut. Like, what character of Khary's would you like him to sign off the show as?
Uh-oh. Let's
I
see.
would like him to sign off as the character he played on Hannah Montana. The episode was more than a zombie to me. And I think it's probably given him the inner workings that he needed to bring forth for King Ezekiel.
It was the only reason I was able to play King Ezekiel, absolutely, was
They were
because
on
of
the
my
fence when
zombie
you
work
auditioned, but
on
once
Hannah
they saw
Montana.
that-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
for that.
it's on your
Absolutely.
reel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? It is my reel. I don't even show
It's
anybody
it's
anything
the
else.
First thing.
Somebody did say Hannah Montana.
Nice.
We have a few
I
Ezekiels.
have people on my side.
It's
We've got Cyborg.
we've got
We've got-
Cyborg, and we got a lot of Cyborg. Honestly, Cyborg is just me very excited to have a job. That is literally the
played
voice
that
of
role
Cyborg.
before.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think we all have that
it was
voice,
my
don't we?
It was my first voiceover audition in Los Angeles. It was my first voiceover audition in Los Angeles, and I was so excited that they were letting me in there. And that exuberance is pretty much just has been Cyborg ever since. A very happy me. A very happy me.
Amazing. All right, we've had a few Cyborgs, we've had a few Ezekiel, so I'm going to leave it to the dealer's choice. All you need to do is just sign up the show and tell people to go register to vote.
All right, let's see. Well, then I will do the one that I wanted to do, because for a little while I was a fellow named Rafiki on the Disney Channel. So I get to do that. If you don't know which one you want to do, I will tell you which one, and you will love it. So I want you all to become friends with friends of mine. It is NerdsVote on the Instagram. They are amazing people, let me tell you. So please come, please participate in this beautiful thing we call democracy. You will love it. And if that wasn't enough for you, then King Ezekiel will also say, please, if you're going to vote, vote like a nerd. Nerds vote.
Yeah! Amazing. Oh, Khary, this has been so good.
All right.
Thank you
This
so
has
much for
been
joining us
fun.
today,
Thank you
sir.
so
Really
much.
appreciate it. Yeah.
You're the best.
You know what? It's it's tense times, out there, but man, it's good to talk about these things and to get them out in the open.
Yeah.
It's important. It's important.
I have hope. I mean, this was born out of a lot of tragedy and a lot of difficult feelings, but I feel good. I feel good in the direction
Exactly.
we're going, and I feel hopeful that in the end, this is the crucible we need to go through. So, bring it.
Hope keeps us going,
Yeah.
Man, thank God. Thank God for that simple four-letter word, man.
Amen.
All
All right.
right.
Have a good
Peace,
one, my
guys.
friend.
Take care.
We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Khary.
Oh, that was awesome. He is so cool. To everybody still out there,
I could have
I know.
talked to him for like another 10 hours.
Be sure to follow us at NerdsVote here on the Instagram or on Twitter. And join us on
Our
Motivote.
team.
Yeah, join the Motivote team.
Not how you ask.
Yeah.
Join our team, our Motivote team. It's nerdsvote.motivote. And it's Motivote, MOTIVOTE.us.
Yeah, like motivation, but Motivote. So it's right here. It's right here. See? Right there? Yeah.
It's right there. Mm-hmm. Great. And join us next week.
We can't say who it's going to be yet, but it's a special Pride Week. So for the month of June, we have two special guests who are so very LGBTQ plus Pride. So do not miss it. It will be amazing.
Yes, and you can hang out on Saturday. Follow us at NerdsVote across social media, and you will be the first to know who our guest is going to be.
Yep. All right.
Thanks
We'll
so much,
see you
guys.
then. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.
Be safe.